Now we can move on to the conveyor rollers subassembly. So the first thing we're going to do is take all of our parts out of the labeled bag. Here we have 4 roller caps, a large pulley, a closed loop GT2 belt, and a handful of hardware. Three out of the 5 roller caps are going to receive a short M5 bolt, and one of them will receive the long M5 by 40mm bolt, and that roller cap is the one onto which we will also put the large pulley, which will drive the actual conveyor belt. Once we have everything staged with the bolts and lock nuts, we need to tighten all of them up. On the 3 shorter roller caps, the tightness of the nut and bolt isn't super important, so just tighten it as much as you want, making everything sit flush together. The tightness on the longer driving roller cap is much more important. Again, the tightness of the bolt that connects the roller cap to the pulley is very important. So we're going to tighten this up as much as we can, and then with the pliers and the hex key, we're going to make sure that it is good and tight. That is one way in which the pulley actually is able to drive the conveyor roller. The other way that we can make sure it's a nice tight connection is by tightening up the set screws on the side of the pulley, and again making sure that those are good and tight as they can be. Next, we can find and unwrap our 2 conveyor rollers. You'll notice that one of them is longer than the other. So the longer roller will be on the back of the machine, and that's essentially our idling conveyor belt roller, and the shorter one will go to the front of the machine, where the roller cap with the large pulley on it will also be positioned. The roller caps should be a tight fit on the rollers by default, but I like to use a mallet, or you could use a hammer with maybe a piece of wood in between to really tap them in place and make sure that the roller bottoms out in the roller cap itself. For a long time, I considered this step to be optional because the roller caps were so tight on the rollers, but for best practices, I'd really recommend you take a drill and use the holes on the roller caps as a guide, and actually drill through the roller, and then you use some of the M3 screws. They'll be either 8 or 10mm long to attach the rollers to the roller caps a little bit more securely than just the press fit. There will be 3 holes on each roller cap, so you'll be drilling 6 holes in each roller, or 12 holes total. With all of the roller caps mounted nicely to our conveyor rollers, we can move on to assembling the frame.